Welcome back to the Visually Hidden Selects podcast, episode 44. This month's selection was Raising Arizona from 1987, written, produced, and directed by Joel and Ethan Coen, and starring Nicolas Cage, Holly Hunter, John Goodman, William Forsythe, and Randall Tex Cobb. But really, one of the things that I love about this movie in terms of the cast are like the background actors, the people who aren't really up front or in the story. Like I really love the guy at the convenience store when he's getting robbed. Not the young guy, but the guy's like, these balloons blow up into funny shapes. Oh, unless you think round is funny. Like that guy. He's just so good.
Yeah.
And even the guy in the bank, he's like, everybody freeze and get down on the ground. Well, which is it, Sonny? Freeze, I can't exactly drop. And if I drop, I'm going to be in motion. And he like just rents space in John Goodman's head, and his reaction is so good. It's like those little bits of character seasoning and flavor, I think, is one thing that really just puts this movie and the Coens kind of over the top in terms of their filmmaking and storytelling. Like they really just they get that seasoning right with the cast.
I can't disagree. It's funny, as we were starting this, I was just thinking how funny Frances McDormand is in this movie.
Yeah.
And the last thing I've seen her in happened to be Three Billboards, which is completely the different characters. So it's just, I don't know, it just popped into my head as, it's pretty funny to see those, and they weren't back to back, but it just happened to be the last thing I saw her in.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and she's just dynamite, I mean, of course, she's married to the director, Joel Coen, so that always kind of helps getting a decent part, or a diverse part, let's say, because she was in their first movie, Blood Simple. She was the female lead, and she was fantastic in that. And here, she's not doing the lead, but she's just filling in the right amount of space in the story and doing it so well and in such a delightful way, honestly. Like she has just such great enthusiasm in her performance. For a little sidetrack from our main story, I never get tired of it.
About this film, I was a bit reluctant to watch it, to be frank with you, when you told me to watch it, because Nicolas Cage, I'm always I have a mixed feeling about this actor. I never know. I mean, he can do really great things, but he can do really different things, let's say that way. And so, yeah, I don't know. I saw this movie was made in 1987. So actually, it was a really good surprise. I really love this character. I love the way he played it, because actually this character, he has two different sides in the movie. I don't know if you felt that way, but I think it's cute the way he plays it, because it's really realistic. Even if the guy is a bit crazy at the beginning and still at the end, he still have his craziness, but it's cute.
No, yeah, there's definitely a very interesting dynamic to the character that he plays, and then even there's a like built-in tenderness. And it kind of comes across even in the beginning, when he's going through his parole hearings and they're like, since you never used live ammunition, we have no choice but to release you. And, he's like, I didn't want to hurt anyone, I just wanted to, get the money without working for it, basically. But yeah, like right there, just the fact that they introduce very early that he doesn't use live ammunition. It's like, okay, yeah, he doesn't want to hurt anyone. He is... Inside, he's a good guy. Like you could get behind him, he's not malicious. He's not a psychopathic killer or anything like that. He just, he's misguided.
Yeah.
But Steve, you're no great fan of Nicolas Cage. I know that.
I hate Nicolas Cage.
Yeah,
I hate Nicolas Cage.
So now how does this film come across for you? Because clearly you're here talking about it, so you must have liked it.
So this is probably the first movie I saw with him. And I obviously saw it when I was a kid, like in the 80s. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was, I obviously didn't appreciate the full scope of the movie as a kid. But I thought it was entertaining and funny. And I had seen it a couple times. And then as I got older and started to experience more Nicolas Cage movies, I was like, oh boy. And I never wanted to go back and revisit it. I never had a reason to, just because all of his other stuff left a bad taste in my mouth. I don't think I've seen this movie in 30 years. And then when I saw it on the list of movies, I was like, oh shit. But I was like, but I remember liking it. And I always love John Goodman. Always love John Goodman. Yeah. And I always have a special place in my heart for Holly Hunter. So I was like, I remember having good feelings about this movie, and it's the Coens, so I'll go back and I'll watch it again. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to see it again. And like I said, before we started the episode, I had remembered kind of broad strokes about it, but then like as I'm watching, I'm like, oh yeah, and that happens. Oh yeah, and so stuff started falling into place in my memory. And you had said in the video you think it's his best performance. I think I agree. If not his best, it's one of his best, because talk about hit or miss, man. I mean, sometimes he does something really good, like Adaptation.
Yeah.
And then sometimes he does stuff like 8mm, and it's just like, bro, you don't know what you're going to get. It's just like, it's kind of brutal.
Yeah, no.
And,
on Letterboxd, I have a top 5 Nicolas Cage list, and of course, this is at the top. But Adaptation is also a really good one. I really like Vampire's Kiss, because that is really kind of the first time you really see him go off the rails, and people loved it so much they just kind of kept letting him off the leash.
Yeah,
and so you start getting a lot more Vampire's Kiss throughout his career. But in that movie, he's really kind of like, oh man, this is, such a far away like galaxy he's in right now.
Yeah, I can't watch that movie. I can't bring myself to watch that. I've never seen it, but I can't. Yeah, I really have a strong. He's probably my least favorite actor of all time. But here's a weird thing.
Steven, there are so many worse actors than Nicolas Cage. That's not fair.
That's very fair. And I think, as you said in the video, also the fact that the Coens kind of, it's like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And you're locked in was a benefit for him.
Oh, totally. No,
left to his own devices.
Yeah, the Coen brothers really are like auteurs. Like, they envision their film, and then they create their film, and then people get to experience their film. And that's it, like, I remember I saw an interview, I forget who it was, but they were talking to John Goodman, and they were, like, all right, well, so when are we going to get, like, the rewrite pages? They were working on Coen Brothers film, and John Goodman was like, there are no rewrite pages. This is what they wrote is what we're doing, and that's it. You better know it.
But learn to love it.
Yeah. And I can't argue with it, because, like, even though, and I don't know how many Coen Brother films you guys have seen. I've seen most of them. And the few that I haven't, they're on the list, but they're not like priority. Mm-hmm. They're not, the ones that the must sees. Like, I would consider Raising Arizona a must see, or No Country for Old Men, or The Big Lebowski. Those are like, or Fargo. Those are the ones you should really like kind of go out of your way to get a hold of and watch.
Yeah.
But they all have this element to the storytelling that I touched on in the video as well, but it's like, when you're watching one of their movies, and they really do only do two kind of movies. There's the eclectic, zany, crazy kind of ones with the, cavalcade of bizarre characters, and then there's the really super intense ones that, like, you just can't take your eyes off because it's so tense, and you're like fearing for not only the characters' lives, but maybe even your own.
Yeah. I've seen a handful. I haven't seen everything. I mean, I've seen, obviously, Raising Arizona, The Big Lebowski, Fargo. Hail Caesar, I think, was theirs, too, for a few years back. 'Cause I saw that in the theater. I saw another one of theirs. But, I mean, so far, out of the ones that I've seen, I think for all time, Big Lebowski is going to be my favorite. It's just, I love that movie, man. Jeff Bridges is so good.
But every time their movie, it looks a bit grotesque at the beginning. And actually, yeah, it's a moving comedy. And what I loved in this one is you have everything I love in the same movie. Like, you have love, you have action, you have a bit of action. And it's always funny. They always have a situation you don't expect.
Quite a bit of action.
Yeah. You have a bit of action, and it really is an American movie for me. Just the title, "Raising Arizona," it sounds American, and it's a lot of the road on the road. Many scenes are on the road, and that's typical of American movies. I don't know if you noticed that, but I love it. I mean, it's not it's a compliment. It really sounds American, this movie.
Watching it again at my age now, because like I said, hadn't seen it in probably 30 years. I forgot how zany it was. I always the one scene that always stuck out in my mind is John Goodman emerging from the earth and just yelling for like a minute straight. As a kid, I'm like, why is this guy still yelling? But it's just so funny. It's just so bizarre. But it has a wacky zaniness to it, as you said. And I was thinking, like, it's definitely like a fractured fairy tale. I could put it in the category of, something almost like, even a true romance. It's kind of has a weird vibe to it. But then it's also kind of zany, like After Hours, with our good friend Griffin Dunn.
But it's all coherent. It all adheres. It's not like totally out of left field, and then like it's balanced and it's consistent.
Yeah.
In terms of the characters and their outlooks, and I love the shot. Like the first 11 minutes, I cannot say enough about the first 11 minutes of this movie, where you get all that backstory. But I always love the shot of Hi and Ed's wedding. It's like, I do. You bet I do. Okay, then. And then like everybody cheers. And if you look at Hi's side of the room, they're all wearing Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah.
Like that's just his group, and then her group are all dressed in black, whether they're police officers or just more formal. And it's just like that juxtaposition, but that consistent juxtaposition, even in like that quick shot, is, I think, something that it's one of those attentions to detail that really runs throughout the entire film.
Yeah, there's a lot of those little nuggets throughout the film that are just really, really funny. Even like I was just noticing, like when William Forsythe and John Goodman are crashing at their house, is the placement of the beer cans around them. But it just paints that picture of the two guys that definitely overstayed their welcome, with this plate of chicken, and it's just very funny.
Just the music also is funny. I love it. It's like a cowboy road trip music. I don't know. It brings fun in the storytelling.
Yeah. No, the banjo like theme that drives this movie is really great, but one thing that I really love about the music is that it repurposes the Beethoven Ode to Joy, aka the Die Hard music, Stephen.
Die Hard music.
If you're listening, and if you're not listening for it, it's very easy to miss it because of how well it's integrated and repurposed and disguised. But just the fact that like they're using that as like the foundation for the theme music is also very interesting. It's like, because there is energy to that, but then playing it on the banjo with the chorus and the whistling, it's like, again, it's taking something that like, okay, yeah, I know this the way I know, Law and Order and, criminals and bad guys. I know this, but it's just kind of turning it on its side a little bit. It's like looking at it from a different direction through like a skewed lens, and it's making this like normal, everyday, average situation just a little bit more interesting and a little bit more engaging, a little bit more dynamic. Of course, like this could be a very sad movie about two people who can't, have children. But instead, it's this like bizarre crime caper that just keeps spinning out of control with these like very eccentric characters. I mean, Rantall Tex Cobb, the biker. Like the phantom biker bounty hunter, like, where'd he come from?
Yeah, like something out of Mad Max.
Or Mad Magazine.
He appears, and at first you're not sure if this is just a nightmare that Hi's having. Is it a premonition of things to come for the baby?
Mm-hmm.
Because like he's got that tattoo, and he's got
He's got
the
the
little
booties.
baby booties. Yeah, so it's like, oh my god, did he grow up to be like an outlaw like his father? So you don't know,
Yeah.
So it's got a little bit of mystery in there too, which is kind of fun. But no, he's just a badass biker bounty hunter type of a guy. It's it's just weird, but it works somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I love the tattoo scene. You just talked about it, and I loved it when he discovers that they have the same tattoo. It's so funny. They're in the middle of a fight, and suddenly he sees the tattoo.
Yeah.
So unexpected.
That kinship between them with the Mr. Horsepower tattoo, it's like the fact that like in the beginning they introduce that with Hi. It's like, show the tattoo, and they take a picture of it, and it's like, okay, yeah, like why is that important? Why is that significant? And then later on when Hi and the bounty hunter are going toe to toe, when Leonard Smalls has him in like that bear hug, and he's just like reveals it, and then it's like this like deep dark secret, or like, yeah, they're kindred spirits. Like that's why he's seeing him in his dreams. Like, are they brothers? And like Leonard was given up for adoption, and Hi was misraised to become an outlaw. Like, what's going on there? And that's another thing that is really, it's in a lot of Coen Brothers movies. It's just that little touch of mystery where it doesn't distract you, but it gives you something to chew on. They do that in a lot of their movies where it's just this like little extra thing that's like, why is that there? I don't know. Let me take, maybe I should watch it again. And that might be their real genius, is like getting people on the comeback. They're like drug dealers,
I understood the tattoo thing. Like maybe people are not what they look like. Maybe the biker, he could have been high, and high maybe could have been like him. I mean, it's less probable, but I don't know. I think that's what it means, that you can have something common with anybody. I don't know. That's the meaning I understood of it. But anyway, it was super funny.
When you think about the topics that the movie covers, like Pete had stated before, that a couple who can't have children, and then they kidnap a child, but it's all done in this lighthearted manner,
Mm-hmm.
and how High's friends take the baby with them, and then they leave him on the top of the car, and then like John Goodman's again screaming, but then they come to care for the kid. It's just very funny how these really serious topics are kind of turned on their side and played for laughs, but in a really kind and sweet way. And then when they return the baby, how the dad's like, well, I kind of understand. Like with a 6-shooter in his hand, he's like, I get it. It's all right, guy. You rascals, get out of here now. And it's just like, okay, but it works somehow. Somehow it's the right tone, and it works. And I don't think that anyone could get away with this aside from the Coen brothers, really.
No, I mean, not like this, I mean, maybe Wes Anderson, he does kind of quirky, zany, sort of grounded stuff, but he's so far into his own world at this point, like if you like think about like Rushmore might be in the same vein as like a Raising Arizona, where it's like, okay, yeah, this is reality, but it's these people reality,
Yeah.
like this is their reality, and it yeah. But I feel like the real heart of the movie is definitely Holly Hunter. And she is, as much as Nicolas Cage is important and he's the narrator and the main character, she really is like the driving force, because she's the one who makes Hi want to stop robbing convenience stores. She puts this longing in him for a better life.
Yeah.
And, a future that's only 8 to, 14 months away, or whatever it is, like whatever his prison sentence is, but and then she's the one who can't, bear children. And so then she's the one who like tells him, go up there and get me that baby,
Right.
like
stop robbing those convenience stores, but go steal me that child.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So she's, it's a very, very interesting character with a very, very unique arc and just their dynamic. It's like I think that's the thing that I really love about this movie is their relationship and how it how you see the beginning and then the middle and then the end is kind of like ambiguous. It's like I love the ending of the movie. I really, really do. Where he's like he has that dream and like he looks way into the future and like you don't know. And it's like, wow, that's so cool. And that's so like even as a kid, like I saw this movie as like a small child. Like it came out in 87. I want to say I saw it on TV in like 88. So I was like 5 years old. And like, to me, Nicolas Cage in this movie, that was a goal. Like, that was what I was aspiring to do with my life was like rob convenience stores and then find like a nice woman and settle down and have a family, like it's crazy to say, out loud in a conversation, but it's true. It really is, more so than like more than being a Ghostbuster. I wanted to be H.I. McDonough when I was a little kid.
Oh boy. Well, I gotta say, as great as the performances are in this movie, and they're great. I love John Goodman. I never get tired of John Goodman. Anything he's in is immediately just improved just because he's in it.
And this was like one of his like first like significant roles, He had done like he was in Revenge of the Nerds before this. But he wasn't like a significant character, and it was right around this time that he started doing Roseanne, and then he was in Everybody's Living Room in America, once a week, so he just became known. But this movie was really kind of like his first significant performance.
Yeah, I adore that man. I was fortunate enough to see him live on stage. He's great. He's and seeing him in person, really up close, he's fantastic. Every movie, every show, everything I've seen him in, even if the movie's not great, I walk away saying, well, he's awesome. Yeah.
I don't like the term guilty pleasure. I think it's a bullshit term for cowards. I like the Flintstones movie. I'll watch it any day of the week. It's John Goodman, Rick Moranis. It's good. It's just good because they're good.
Yeah. I love Elizabeth Perkins, so,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, John Goodman, A+.
Yeah.
And in this one, too, I love, sometimes work has to come before family. Like, just his, like, cut and dry, like, outlook on life.
When he tries to have an air of sophistication at moments, it's so funny. Yeah, it's just so
We
good.
don't always smell this way, ma'am.
He tries to give him relationship advice. It's just like, what? You just cleaned yourself up in this gas station bathroom.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, no, the coupling of him and William Forsythe was really just a stroke of brilliance in terms of the casting, because they really are. And I mentioned this in the video too, but yeah, they're baby faces, It's like that's like a theme, It's like they're just grown up big kids, It's like to make that visual theme, like a line in this like tapestry of a film. It's like, wow. They really just thought of everything, didn't they?
Yeah, and two bulky guys. They're big boys, and then Holly Hunter's just giving them the business, and she has no problems telling them to get out, or they can't stay here, or she's such a little spitfire.
Oh yeah, I love her, and especially in this movie, she's just dynamite.
She's always good.
When she's marching up to Leonard Smalls at the end, and she's like, "Give me that baby, you warthog from hell!" Like, yeah, you get him, Ed.
I was wondering what is the qualification to Ed to be a police officer during the movie, because she looks really emotional from the beginning, and when you think about it, they decided to kidnap a baby after not even 2 minutes watching that someone had 5 babies in once. So you think like, okay, for a police officer, it's weird, but she's a bit crazy, so you understand it. But you understand her qualification for the job at the end when she takes the lead, and you see that she can be really she can follow rules when it's not moral. But at the beginning, you're like, oh my God, what is that police officer? And she falls in love for a prisoner and everything. So just that is a fun character just for that.
Well, it's like you said, Pete, the whole 11-minute setup there, you see their relationship form, at such a breakneck pace, but you just get what you need to get, and you get out, and it's like, all right, and then the movie can start, and then Raising Arizona credit comes across the screen, and now we're off to the races. This is what we're doing. But yeah, you get to know the characters really quickly. It's very charming. It's very it's just a nice way to ease you into that Coen Brothers world and that kind of mindset.
But the choice to tell the story from a male point of view on a couple having difficulties to have a baby, I mean, it's really interesting to have this kind of a point of view. But in the same way, I felt bad for her, because when you think about it, the fact that they cannot have their own family is mainly because of her. It's also because of him, because when they try to adopt, it's complicated. But she's kind of put into the background. You know what I'm saying? She's important in the story, but it's a compliment I'm saying, because it's interesting to have this point of view. I think most of the movies talking about this topic, they always take the woman point of view, like family equals woman desire, but it's not true. And maybe it comes from her in the movie, but you see that he's really attached to please her, to create their own family, and is really involved when he introduced the house to the baby. It's so cute. This baby doesn't care about the house, but he wants to look around the property with him. It's so cute. But it was really interesting to have in a funny movie, a humoristic movie, this kind of topic on the male's point of view.
Or even how high basically defends her honor when his boss is like trying to pitch the idea, let's swing. he cracks him one. He's like, not on my watch, pal. I may be a robbing convenience stores and stealing children, but there's a line.
Well, and I think that just comes across from the beginning. It's like that the movie begins. First time I met Ed was in the county lockup, in Tempe, Arizona. It's a day I'll never forget. And you can see in those first exchanges, the look in his eye and the tone in their voices, it's like he is like smitten. Mm-hmm. That was like Cupid's arrow. Like you could almost see it. And so then it's like, there's no question throughout the rest of the movie. And like I said, she's his driving force. She's the one who gets him to kind of redeem himself in the eyes of the law. She's the one who pushes him to fall back on that. And, in the end, she's the one who has them bring him back. So everything he does is for it. It's like Rocky and Adrian. Mm-hmm. Everything Rocky does, he does in his pursuit of Adrian. And it's the same here in Raising Arizona. Everything High does is for Ed, because he is just head over heels in love with her. And so when she can't bear children, and she's like, he's got his arm around her and she's just crying her eyes out as the doctor is explaining, with the textbook, and he's just taking it all in, and he's just doing anything he can to console her. It's just such a beautiful little love story. So I don't think it's exactly weird to tell it from High's point of view, because again, it's there are two people in the relationship and he's just the narrator. But I think they have equal stake in the story.
Also, it makes you wonder, did he keep, obviously he has a fancy to rob convenience stores, but maybe he wants to get locked up so he could see Ed. Maybe that's part of it.
In the beginning.
yeah. Obviously, he wants to get the money without working for it. But I think a perk was, hey, well, I get to see Ed again, and then that relationship develops. So yeah, it's almost like he'll, kind of right at the outset, he'll do anything for her.
What is your favorite scene?
Favorite scene. I do like the returning of Nathan Jr.
At the end, really.
There's something nice about that. There's a nice quality to that scene. I don't know. Maybe it's just the heartbreak on Holly Hunter, and also the understanding of Mr. Arizona, that he like, all right, like he gets it. Like, it's just, I don't know. There's something nice about that just stuck with me. And again, like I said, John Goodman escaping prison, it's fucking hilarious, man. It's always, it's just it's so ridiculous.
You know what I love about John Goodman in this movie is when they realize that they have left Nathan Jr. behind, and they they're
Twice.
just yelling in the car, and then he's punching the roof. That punching the roof as he's screaming, it's like, shit. I don't want to cross paths with that dude.
Yeah.
That is intense.
Yeah. But yeah, I like that last scene. I like the prison escape. Yeah, those might be my two favorite moments in the movie.
Have you noticed that Mr. Arizona, he puts his gun into the crib while he's talking to Hi and Ed? It's so funny.
It's funny because it's in this movie, and it's already established that it's, a little askew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned in the video. I mean, I love the opening 11 minutes. I could watch that just on its own, and I have, just to study it and study the narration and just how it all lays out, with the visual side of storytelling. But then the foot chase, when he robs the convenience store to when he like snatches up the Huggies in the middle of the road, like that whole sequence where the dogs are chasing him and like, the cop, like everybody's just on his tail, and even the supermarket guy is like, breaks out the double barrel and starts shooting up the store. It's like, what the hell's going on here? They run through the house like yeah, it's just it's so good.
The funniest moment for me is the bank robbery. Because just the fact that they want to rob a bank, and just before leaving, it's like, we're not gonna let the baby alone in the car. We could have someone could steal it. It's just funny because they stole it first, but anyway. And the fact that when they enter the bank and it's freeze and then go down. What we're gonna do? It's so funny. I love this part, really.
Well, and I love Evel's rationale, William Forsythe's rationale for that whole thing. Is like, suppose we go in there and get ourselves killed. It'll be hours before they discover him. Like he's like, that's part of the plan, sort of. Like, well, we might go in there and just get killed. Like, who knows? Like wouldn't that deter you from even doing that? Like, you got this kid now, okay, maybe just hit the road.
Yeah.
No, they're still gonna follow through because work's what's kept them happy. Yeah, no, there are so many great scenes throughout the whole film. I love when Sam McMurray and Frances McDormand come over for lunch, and that whole sequence, with all the kids, the army of kids that ascend upon their double wide, and what's his face, Buford, he's a sly one. He already knows his ABCs. He's like written fart on the wall. And then the dad just like throws the candy at him and he like ducks. And he's just telling those horrible, Polish jokes like that, in the end get him in trouble with Officer Kowalski.
I love the shot when you have the baby in the forefront, and you see the car brakes right before hitting the baby. I love this shot. It's really well done. And also you have many landscape. I don't know if it's true landscape or it was fake in studio, but you have a great sunset at the beginning. Yeah, I love the shots also. I think it's a great direction because we're talking about the storytelling, but the direction is really great too.
Yeah, the cinematographer was Barry Sonnenfeld, and he shot the Coen brothers' first film, Blood Simple. He also shot their next film, Miller's Crossing, but then he went on to be a director in his own right. He did The Addams Family, he did Men in Black, so he's got a good eye and a good sense of visual storytelling as well. But yeah, this film, you're 100% right. I think some of the best shots, though, are with the biker, Rantall Tex Cobb. Like I love when he's introduced, and then they show him like bite the grenade and throw it, and he blows up the rabbit. And then he's driving along and he just takes his double barrel and picks off the lizard, and even just the flower that just catches fire as he passes. Yeah, it's there's some really great shots there, and then they cop a little Evil Dead action with the ride up over the car and then up the ladder into the nursery at the end of High's Dream. Because Joel Coen, he was an assistant editor on Evil Dead, and they're very good friends with Sam Raimi, so it's just a part of that little filmmaking niche community.
That's cool. I did not know that.
It's just one shot I didn't like, but maybe you liked it. Maybe it's a funny thing, but for me it wasn't funny. During the second attempt of kidnapping the baby, there's a moment the baby is held by his mother, and Nicolas Cage is at the window, and you see Nicolas Cage through the eyes of the baby. So you see like this, it's moving.
Yeah, it's bouncing.
And I didn't like this shot because I was like, yeah, maybe it's their second film, so maybe they were trying to do a cinematic experience or anything. But for me, it wasn't really artistic. It wasn't really necessary for the storytelling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's funny. I never thought about that shot really until you mentioned it just now. Like, it never fazed me, but I think part of that sequence is like sort of telling it from the kid's point of view. So like if you think about earlier when he's in the nursery, a lot of it is like the low angle shots or the kid's point of view, like when the one baby looks over the edge of the crib and then jumps onto his back, and even when they're going down the hallway, it's like that low angle from like the baby's point of view, and High's feet are really big in the frame, and then he runs down the hallway and scoops him up from the top of the stairs. Like that whole sequence, I think, is really just to establish the baby's point of view and bring them in as a character, into a film that's already kind of hit the ground running with High and Ed's backstory.
Good point. It's when you think about it, it's a funny movie, but the topic is, I understood this topic. Maybe it's not the right one I should have understood. I don't know. But that the fact that the opulence is just for the rich, and the poor, they have nothing, despite all their efforts. I mean, they have love, but that's what they have. But because when you think about it, it's quite unfair, the whole situation. So yeah, I don't know. It's really about social inequality, but at the end, it's the situation stays the same. They don't have a baby. I mean, they are a strong couple, that's for sure, but they don't have money. They don't have their own family. I mean, I don't know what you think about it, but.
Well, I think it depends on the individual and what you read into it, and that, again, I mentioned before, is one of the I think special things about the Coen brothers is they give you a little bit more to take home with you. You get like a little like goodie bag at the end of the movie where it's like, yeah, what does that mean? And I feel like what you said, yeah, but I think the overall message is like life is what you make of it. That's a part of it, because Nathan Arizona Sr., he was, saying like, we had trouble conceiving for years, and then, modern science caught up with a vengeance, and they had 5 babies, and, he even earlier in the film, he's like, you changed your name. Yeah. Would you buy store at Unpainted Huffines? Like, he's a wealthy man now, but it's because he made himself wealthy. He went out there and made the life that he wanted, and that's what he's kind of telling High and Ed to consider doing at the end. Don't give up. Like, you got to keep trying. That's sort of my takeaway on that.
I think one of the most absurd things is the fact that they steal this child and they still call him Nathan Jr. They don't even attempt to give him a new name.
Yeah, well, that shows you how much they thought it through,
right?
And then they don't have their story straight. They are very clearly like acting on emotion. They are being spontaneous. They are small time. Like they didn't think it through. It's like, well, whose parents were he visiting? Like, well, you said your parents were dead, and it's like Ed Jr. Hi Jr. Like they're totally like just they are not professional criminals in like
so
even
funny.
the broadest sense. So yeah, and again it ties back to the sincerity of their characters. Like that's one thing that kind of makes them a little endearing, is like, yeah, like they're clearly like in over their heads and out of their league,
Yeah. Nathan Jr.
Nathan Jr. accepts me for what I am.
Yeah.
And you better have too.
That kid grows up, Dad, who the hell's Nathan? It just struck me as funny. Like,
oh, it's hilarious. The whole movie, start to finish, forever and a day.
It didn't get old. This movie, when you think about it, was 30 years ago, and I'm sure if they put it in theater right now, people will laugh still.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it has those timeless sensibilities, that like of course there's some things that like date it in terms of technology, but in terms of like a story or just entertainment value, it can't really be touched, It's definitely has like all the trimmings and earmarks of a classic. That'll about do it for us here today at the Visually Hidden Selects podcast. We will be discussing a completely different film next time, so make sure you head over to our YouTube channel and subscribe so you don't miss any future selections. You can catch Stephen Bendler over on Instagram at Steve's Pop Culture Corner. Anne and I, of course, are also on Instagram as well as Letterboxd, so you can follow us over there and find out what we've been watching and see what we think. And until next time, don't go driving by no convenience stores that aren't on the way home.